As I promised, we're going to talk to our investigative reporter, Nate Morabito. This is a story exclusive to WCNC Charlotte that you will hear more on tonight. We're not going to give the entire nuts and bolts behind it, but we do want to talk about, the overarching theme here is about one massage therapist, 2 different spas, and some separate allegations of sexual abuse, 3 specifically, that Nate has been investigating over the course of many months. And so we're not just, like I said, going to get into the nuts and bolts. We'll bring in Nate in now. Nate, we'll talk about, some of the, the findings, some of the work that you did in the background, and of course, talking about these victims. Let's start with them and the bravery to come forward, because these stories, not only are they shocking, but they can be traumatic, especially for those who are involved in this. And so it's very interesting that there are now people coming forward and using that bravery to hopefully shine a light on something that we're investigating. So go ahead and discuss. Maybe we'll start off there with some of the victims you spoke to.
That's a great point. I was kind of blown away by hearing their stories, because when you think about somebody who's been through a traumatic experience and have struggled to kind of be able to express that, and even over time, it takes a long time to get to a point where you feel comfortable not being ashamed by it, removing any guilt that you may feel, and being willing to sit down, in this case with our photographer Ken Shermer and I, 2 men, and then have 3 women. Really, we initially had 4. We told one of the stories a month or so ago already. But we have these 3 women now telling us their stories, which are so graphic at times. But there's a necessity to sharing those details because of the severity that happened, getting down to the truth of what happened to them, and also understanding that they're speaking for a reason. They want to make sure this doesn't happen to someone else. And so each one of them, so courageous. I mean, one of the women really had trouble leaving her bedroom for months after this, terrified by what happened to her, when each one of them simply went to get a massage and they left feeling violated in a different way, but all in a similar way, and all by the same massage therapist. And I'm going to tell you who this massage therapist is. He's in prison right now. Charles Devin Alford. This all happened out of Cabarrus County. Okay. He took what's called an Alford plea, actually, which is where you basically admit there's enough evidence to convict you, but you're not admitting any guilt. He is in prison for at least 38 months. He will be a sex offender at the end of his prison term as well for 30 years. And the justice system from a criminal perspective has gone that route. Now, he is also named in lawsuits, 2 different lawsuits that these women filed, along with 2 spas that they're suing for what happened to them. And I think that that's really the critical part here. We know something happened to these women. There is a system in place to make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen. And if it does happen, to protect the next person. And what happened in this case, Colin, that is incredibly frustrating is that there were red flags. A woman says she was sexually abused by this man. She reports it to police. The spa does not report it to the state licensing board. He gets a job at a different spa in Cabarrus County. A woman has an uncomfortable experience with him. The next morning, she sends an email to the spa saying what happened to her, again, trying to protect the next person. That spa does not report it to the state regulatory board. A week and a half later, another woman comes in and says she is sexually abused by this man. I want you to hear from each of them. We've got sound from all 3 of them right here, Erica Nash, Lindsay Ward, and Kimberly Joseph. Just kind of understand where they are today and why they're speaking up. I think this will give you some real good insight into why they feel like this is the moment they need to share their story.
I made a promise to my dad. Who said every day in a courtroom, every time I went, walked through this side by side with me and my 2 sisters, and I made a promise to my dad after I was assaulted that I won't stop until there's something changed.
My goal was to ensure that this wouldn't happen to anybody else. whatever that would look like. And their approach was not sufficeable for me. It wasn't good enough.
Not only did the system fail them and really not do their due diligence to protect them, they left me in the line of fire to be next. And so many other women and men that could have also have experienced this during the same time frames that we did.
So think about all the what ifs each of them are thinking. The very first woman is the very first victim in this case who contacted police, and now she knows that other women after her face similar situations and experiences. The last woman you heard from, 2 other people raised the flag and warned about this man before her. She's wondering, how did it get to me? And then the woman in the middle, again, alerted the spa, this is the second spa, about what happened to her, hoping it would make a difference, and yet he continued to see female clients and then, according to them, sexually abuse them. So we have systems in place that are never perfect, and in this case we have rules and regulations in the state of North Carolina that require, number one, spas be licensed. That's important so we can regulate the spa, and once it's licensed, be required to report sexual misconduct allegations when they occur. In this case, Colin, neither of those spas were licensed when these crimes occurred, and neither of the spas reported what happened to these women to the state massage board. The state massage board told us the most recent complaints against this man all came from clients.
Fascinating. I guess my next question is, we always discuss, in some sense, how viewers, in some sense, the victims of these stories sometimes reach out. How did you go about formulating a plan to put all of this together? Because as we've already pointed out, there are traumatic stories, and we are obviously hiding, concealing the identity of one person, but these women are very brave, no doubt, whether they're showing their faces or not. It's hard to get in front of a camera and speak about something that happened to you that was wrong and that you feel nobody did anything about. So can we talk about the process of really handling those interviews and these people with care?
Yeah, I mean, so the woman whose face was hidden is Lindsay Ward. She's still afraid, and she asked us to hide her face, so we did.
Right.
She's a victim of a sex crime. That is something that we will do.
Right.
Because of the sensitivity of this kind of a situation.
Yeah.
And I give them all credit, too, because they're very much adamant that this is not going to define them.
Mm-hmm.
That this was not their fault. This was the other person's fault, the massage therapist's fault.
Mm-hmm.
He can deal with that shame. They're not going to be ashamed by it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you have to be comfortable to sit down and be willing to weigh the risks and benefits of speaking up.
Mm-hmm.
And the pain, you're going to be exposed, you're going to be vulnerable, that you may kind of break down, which multiple of them did. But the benefit is that, number one, you might inspire someone else to think, hey, I'm not alone here. You might inspire someone else to reach out to police, to the media, to the regulatory board, to a spa to say, hey, I felt really uncomfortable or this happened to me. And then maybe you may result in change here or some kind of impact that better protects people moving forward. And that's ultimately the goal, right? When we started talking to their attorneys and these women, we were very clear that our process is very methodical. We're going to do this in a way that is the right way to do it. This is not about a headline getting out there. This is about real people's experiences and how can we basically bolster the system so there can be better protection moving forward. We gave the state massage board ample time to try and respond to our questions. We really have not had an agreement from them to talk with us on camera about what they're doing to better protect the public.
Okay.
These spas were unlicensed at the time. They should have been licensed. Why weren't they licensed? Are these spas going to face consequences?
Yeah.
Spa Botanica and Velux Signature Spa, I hadn't mentioned the names yet. Are they going to face consequences? We're still trying to figure that out.
Right.
I think there's a level of what kind of reassurance is there behind the scenes that we're going to take this seriously and make sure it doesn't happen again. We don't like that this happened. How can we improve our process moving forward, right? at the same time communicating with attorneys for the spas to try and give them a fair shake. And also tell these women, which we did, this is your story. You are in control in what you share, what you feel comfortable sharing, what you don't want to share. And our web article is live right now on WCNC.com. It's very detailed. Again, some of what happened to these women is incredibly graphic, but it's their reality. And it is now out there for the public to see, and hopefully for our politicians to see, for our advocates to see, for other victims to see, and for the massage board to see too, and say, hey, what should we be doing moving forward? The massage board meets next week. We're curious to see what might happen in the next week after this story airs. But at the same time, Colin, we're very clear. We've been very clear for weeks now about what we intended to report, so that if there's an error, they could correct us. So if we're missing something, they can let us know. We've had no additional communication when it comes to that.
Okay.
We know court filings were just filed this week for one of the spas, and that's part of our reporting too. We're trying to be fair,
right,
and figure out, look, did these places run background checks on this man? They say they both did. That's there. Are they disputing that they reported this to the state massage board? Spa Botanica admitted in its court filing it did not report it to the massage board. So we're really going to go line by line here to make sure we're getting the full story. And we're taking what these women say and what their experiences were and broadening it out to what's the bigger impact here. The bigger impact is, how do we protect the next person?
Right. And draw attention to a situation like this so that doesn't happen again. Duly noted. So yes, watch the investigation and the piece tonight. Nate, that'll be on at 6 tonight?
Actually, we're going to be on at 11 tonight with the full investigation on TV, but I'm going to be on at 5:30 as well.
Okay.
Talking a little bit more about this. And go online right now, WCNC.com. CNC.com, so you can read it, see all the details. It's such an important subject, and really it's one of those that keeps you up at night because you feel really terrible about what's happened. Yeah. But also just feel grateful that they found a space to be able to tell their story. Absolutely. And the weight that comes with it, trying to make sure that there is an impact here. Yeah, and then trusting, obviously, to speak to you, speaks volumes. So appreciate you bringing their story to the forefront and creating awareness around the situation. Hopefully the right people will tune in and see this as well to make some changes that are needed. Nate Morabito reporting in the Impact Studio for us, folks.